Ride a Cowboy.
Hi, everybody. This is Ken Corbin, and welcome once again to the Manufactured Home Show in this very special edition with John Rich of the infamous and famous, I should say, Big and Rich. And we also have Chris Murray, and we're going to discuss this incredible project called Go Fresh Homes. But let's start out with John Rich, who's part of the American country music duo Big and Rich. He's a three-time ASCAP Songwriter of the Year, having written and produced over 40 top 40 singles, written and produced 14 number one singles, co-wrote and produced the most played country song of 2008, Just Got Started Loving You, and is the only artist in country music history to score a top 10 as a group, duo, and solo artist. John is the host of CMT's highest rated TV show ever, Gone Country. In addition, he's the winner of the Celebrity Apprentice by raising over $1.4 million for St. Jude Christian's Research Hospital. John Rich has made numerous Fox News appearances, including Fox and Friends, The Five, and Sean Hannity, CNN, and as an ESPN game day performer and host. He debuted his own show on Fox Nation in February of this year called The Pursuit. The show welcomes both stars and his friends that delve into their personal journeys to achieve the American dream. Folks, John Rich knows manufactured housing, as he grew up in a double-wide mobile home from 1980 to 1988 in Amarillo, Texas. And John is a partner in this exciting Go Fresh project that we'll be talking about in just a moment. Joining us also today is Chris Murray, who's a seasoned entrepreneur who has spent his career as a leader, business builder, negotiator, and consultant. His diverse background in athlete representation, technology, real estate, healthcare, and financial services, and franchising gives him an added advantage of knowing how to win no matter the uniqueness of the industry. Chris's chameleon-like skills include a tenacious appetite to be a constant learner. Respected as a genuine, down-to-earth person who values integrity, Chris places his faith and family as high priorities in his life. And ladies and gentlemen, with that, I am so pleased to bring you John Rich, Chris Murray. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us on today's program.
Thank you, Ken.
Well, it's a pleasure.
It's great to be here.
It is really exciting. And Chris, you and I have spent a lot of time talking about this wonderful project and how it came about. But John, your background in manufactured housing and mobile homes, I mean, your upbringing, maybe you could share with our viewers a little bit more about this.
Well, so growing up in the Panhandle of Texas, I'm the oldest of four kids. My dad is a non-denominational preacher. So he's the kind of preacher that preaches in prisons. He preaches at big events out on the street, more evangelistic style preacher. So I don't know if you've checked that profession lately, but they don't make a ton of money doing that, you know? So my dad had all kinds of other jobs, everything from selling cars to being a night watchman at Amarillo National Bank, walking the halls of the bank. He pretty much did whatever he had to do to take care of his wife and his four kids. And so in the early years of my life, my dad's got all these kids, you know, and he's like, we can't keep renting places and getting bigger and bigger and not own anything. And so he made the decision to purchase manufactured housing because it was something he could afford to do. And it gave us something that we owned. It was ours. You know, when you ask me, where did you grow up? How did you grow up? I say, I grew up in Amarillo, Texas. And I think about that double wide, that was my house. You know, that's where I grew up. And, you know, that option is out there for all Americans that find themselves in that month-to-month paycheck spot or not a ton of money to put down, but they have a family, they want to own something. And, you know, what manufacturing housing is in 2020 as opposed to back in the 80s, it's not even the same ball game anymore. I mean, these places are incredible, what they've been able to do. So, you know, my message for Americans out there who are doing okay, but they don't have the big money yet, to go buy a big fancy house, is to remind them, hey, this option is there for you guys. It worked for me and my family. It can also work for you and your family. And with COVID-19 hitting and so many people losing their jobs, losing their businesses, especially small businesses, we've seen so many doors closing around this country in this past several months. That's not going to go away anytime soon. The damage of that goes forward into 2021. You don't just snap your fingers and everything's okay again in your bank account. So there's a lot of people looking for affordable options that make sense for their family. And I think manufactured housing is a great option. I just think it's something a lot of people don't think about when they're looking at their situation. They don't necessarily think manufactured housing. And I think it's a great option, and I'm here to remind them, hey, go check that out. That's what Go Fresh is all about. That's why I like working with Chris and the guys. I have a passion for those people. I am those people. I don't live in manufactured housing today, but I grew up in it, and I'm proud of that. We took very good care of it, and it was a nice place to live. So I still relate to all my people back at home, and I understand the struggles Americans go through, and having a home and somewhere stable to live, man, you got to have that if you're going to pursue happiness in this country.
Oh, I couldn't agree with you more, John. This form of housing gives people the opportunity to achieve that American dream of home ownership. And that's so important for Americans today, especially like you mentioned with the COVID and everything else. So, I got to ask this, Chris, you and John, how did you guys get connected to begin this Go Fresh project?
Yeah, so I met John in 2010. I have a business partner in my sports agency where we represent professional athletes. And we hired John to play at a big concert up in northern Minnesota. And I was kind of running the event for my partner. And after John played, he invited me into his tour bus. And it was probably one of the most unique settings I've ever seen in my life. And if you know John Rich and his band, he's got Cowboy Troy, who's about I don't know, what is he, 6'5" or something like that, cowboy, and he raps. And then at the time they had 2 Foot Fred, and Fred's an Indiana guy, and they call him 2 Foot for a reason. And the very unique setting. And so I head into this tour bus, and there's John Rich sitting on the leather couch drinking his whiskey with a premium sound system just cranking Johnny Cash. And in the back of the bus, Cowboy Troy is vacuuming and cleaning. And on the other leather couch, 2 Foot Fred's got all the groupie women next to him. And I'm like, this has got to be the most unique scene I've ever seen in my life. And so anyway, I stayed in touch for quite a while with Cowboy Troy. And I was driving one day and listening to Sean Handy on the radio. And John was talking about growing up in Amarillo, Texas, out of a double wide trailer mobile home. And I said right in my head, right away, I got to call John, see if he wants to play a role in our company and what we're doing. And so we reached out to John through Cowboy Troy, and that's kind of how we all got started. And took a while. And it's rare for entertainers to jump into businesses like this. They're highly fenced, highly protected, highly lawyered up for the right reasons because they have such a public image. And John's another layer beyond most because of his TV personality and everything he's been doing in that form. So, we wanted to make sure it was right for him because we knew he was taking a risk. And at the same time, we love John's genuine heart for the industry. And, with his authentic background, it's a lot different than just bringing on a spokesperson or an ambassador with somebody who thinks they want to be part of it just because they like what they see from the outside in. He's lived it. So it's been just a genuine partnership for us with John, and we're grateful for it.
Well, let me ask this question. Exactly what does Go Fresh do? And then how is this project or program different?
So Go Fresh Homes was founded 5 years ago. It's out of Evergreen, Colorado, which is in the foothills of Denver. And my partner, Jim Davis, was a former banker and for 28 years. And as he exited the banking industry, he loved the space of affordable housing because of all of the elements of the crisis that, everybody's facing in the United States around housing. And so he began to study, what could be the best area in the affordable housing space. And he began to focus on the manufactured housing, in particular MHCs. And as he did that, he learned that there was a specific niche that most didn't want to tackle, where these mobile home community owners, there's 44,000 of them approximately across the United States. And there's a percentage of the homes that are owned by those park owners that are rental homes.
Right.
And most of those rental homes are not highly favored by the park owners because they're deemed an inefficient use of their capital. Mm-hmm. Obviously, their business model is the land appreciation and the lot rents. And so in our world, we saw a particular opportunity to go carve out a niche in the rental space. There's a business called Invitation Homes, which you may or may not be familiar with, but they own 90,000 apartment units across the United States. We'd like to emulate that model one day, owning up to maybe 10,000 as an ambition. And, so to date, we're relatively small. We own 83, have about 6 million invested, but we're raising capital to grow quite substantially and starting to work with park owners who do have rental homes, where we can help them come in and free up cash so they can go out and buy more homes, more parks, lower their debt service coverage ratios with the banks, help their thresholds with the agency financing with Freddie and Fannie. And so what makes us super unique and interesting in this space is that we want our tenants, our residents inside of those rental homes to be able to advance into home ownership through our rentals as they live and reside in our homes, but also create an option for that rental market in that space where they may not quite be there, but they still want the value of 35% greater home for 25% less cost than the next alternative as a 2 or 3 bedroom apartment in the market.
That is a remarkable story. And John, let me go back to you for just a second. You've obviously shown the passion that you have for affordable housing, and specifically this niche of manufactured housing. How do you see it going forward, John? What do you see that passion bringing?
Well, I think there's going to be a lot of Americans over the coming years who are going to opt to purchase manufactured housing because, there is an affordable housing crisis in America. If you watch the news longer than a day, you're going to hear somebody mention that. Housing and urban development, Ben Carson, those guys have been coming at that problem with every idea they have. I approached HUD and said, manufactured housing would solve a lot of that because people can't afford that. When you think affordable housing, you think a place I wouldn't want to live probably. But affordable housing just means I can afford it and it's a house. That's the basic definition of affordable housing. I think manufactured housing in that sector is a really powerful key to unlock home ownership for millions of Americans in this country who, are living like I did when I was younger, which is basically month to month. And they're hardworking, patriotic, God-fearing people. They need a solid place to land. So, something like Go Fresh, centralizing management services and working with owners throughout the United States, with that comes efficiencies. It becomes there's some consistency there that people can count on. And again, to me, it's kind of like I'm the guy that's helping flip the light switch on a little bit and go, hey, you feel like you're cornered right now because you don't like where you're living, but you can't afford to go over here and you don't know what any other options are. Well, turn the light on. Have you thought about this? And most of them are going to say, well, no. And then when you look at manufactured housing in 2020, you walk through one of those houses, you see how they're built, how nice they are. You go, man, this is a nice place. My wife and kids, we would love to live in a place like that. So I think just educating the public, and then what Go Fresh is doing, what we're doing with centralizing a lot of this and making it easier for people. I think those two things are going to be really successful together.
I couldn't agree with you more. And Chris, we've started earlier, and I think it's going to be exciting for you to discuss Patriot Village, the project in Ashland City, Tennessee, that John is spearheading. Maybe you could tell us a little bit more about Patriot Village and what type of partners you're looking for on this project.
Yeah, and I think it's appropriate maybe for John to talk a little bit about the land, but Patriot Village is the project that John and I are working on through Go Fresh as well with manufacturers to develop a great opportunity for industry awareness, but also to create some consumer activities as well as benefit a beneficiary that John's very close to. So I think maybe it's appropriate that John maybe share a little history of the land that he has that we're working on, and how it came about and what some of his vision is for that as well, and why he chose manufactured housing as an option for that.
Sure, John, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. So about, I'd say less than 25 minutes from downtown Nashville. We got this piece of land in Ashton City, Tennessee, which is in Cheatham County, bordering Davidson County, which is where Nashville's at. The mayor of Davidson County raised our property taxes 34% this year. So Nashville is becoming a very expensive place to live, but the neighboring counties like Cheatham County, where Ashton City is, doesn't have that issue. So as I'm working with Go Fresh and I'm thinking more about this industry and looking at this piece of land, I said, this is 25. If you work in Nashville, you're less than 25-minute drive from work. And a lot of people find it valuable just to be that close to Nashville. I mean, there's people spending a lot of money that are further out than that just because they want to be in the proximity of Nashville. So the idea was to put multiple units on this property. And one of the units we'd like to make a giveaway home through the Folds of Honor, which is this shirt I'm wearing right here.
Right.
So Folds of Honor is an organization that puts kids through college who lost a parent in combat, lost a mom or a dad. And I have a brand called Redneck Riviera that's a whiskey throughout the United States. We've got a honky tonk downtown. I give my 10% of every bottle we sell back to Folds of Honor. We've now paid for 125 college grants through Redneck Riviera. So, the manufactured housing industry and this Patriot Village project we're talking about, this is an opportunity for the industry to show some love to our vets, to our families who have lost somebody in combat, and give that family a place to land. And being close to Nashville, this is not like out in the middle of nowhere. This is a nice little town that's 22 minutes from downtown Nashville. And Chris and I just thought that just would be an epic thing to do and call it Patriot Village, really promote the American dream. Because I've said this many times, you talked about my show that I have on Fox Nation called The Pursuit. Well, that's based off the phrase, this country doesn't guarantee you happiness. It guarantees you the right to pursue happiness. That's a big difference between those two things. The right to pursue it. Well, what you said earlier, Ken, about, it's hard to pursue happiness if you don't have a stable living environment. You don't have a place to call your own, something you own, something you can build from there. And so Patriot Village is going to be something that hopefully can establish a few families. And I get to show everybody, hey, you want to know what I know about manufactured housing? I grew up in it, and now I'm developing communities with it.
That's fantastic. So from a partner's perspective, Chris, what are we trying to do? What are we looking for to help partner on this project to make it grow?
Well, we're looking for the right manufacturers that have a passion for growing the industry. We have obviously a great opportunity with John and the exposure and the opportunities that he has through the different ways that he markets himself. Mm-hmm. And we believe that there is a great opportunity using this project to place beautiful homes on it, whether it's, looking at modular or cross mods or, any, we're looking at we're talking to some tiny home companies as well. And just finding the right partnerships that are willing to dive in and work with John on the related exposure that they would get for doing so. We'd like to launch it ideally Memorial Day of 2021 and give that home away to the Folds of Honor, have John participate through way of his entertainment capacity. And so we just believe that there's going to be a great swing come spring, hopefully, where we're all in a better place with either therapeutics or vaccines, and being able to get out and turn the corner on this and add some lift behind the industry and create some greater awareness around the product. We think is going to create a lot of opportunities for manufacturers, but also all of the people that would take part from the industry that might play a role.
Fantastic. John, you mentioned your new program on Fox Nation, The Pursuit. Great program. I encourage everyone to watch it. And talk to me a little bit about how having the right to pursue happiness is an important role for every hardworking American today, and for those that are wanting that to pursue that American dream of home ownership.
The first thing you have to remember is where we sit as Americans with a right like that, a right to pursue happiness. Billions of people woke up today on this planet that have just as much intellect, drive, passion, soul, talent as any American ever had. But because of where they live, they're not allowed to exhaust their potential. They're not allowed to pursue happiness. They have to do what they're told, when they're told, and very little chance of them ever seeing what their full potential actually is. In this country, it doesn't matter where you start off. You can start off like a guy like me in a simple double wide in Amarillo, Texas, with a high school diploma. And if you want to think big enough and work hard enough, you never know what could happen. You know, it doesn't mean you're going to attain the wildest dream you ever had, but it means you have the right to go after that wildest dream. And the fact that we can even do that in this country, and it's secured to us as a right by the founding fathers, is so monumental. No nation that's ever existed on the earth has ever had that right given to its citizens. So if you wake up in America, count yourself as one of the luckiest people ever. In my mind, people ask me, well, John, you know, you've done music all these years, you've done pretty well at that, and you've done a few things, and why do you keep out there hard charging like that? I go, because when you're an American, that's what you're supposed to do. I've had a lot of failures, a ton of them, a lot more failures than successes. People just don't hear about the failures. They only know about the ones you won. But for every success, there's many failures around that. A lot of times failures lead you to a successful point if you can continue to learn and rebound. So for Americans out there that may be watching this and you're struggling, or you know you've got a great idea, or you've got something to offer the world that can elevate yourself and elevate your family, you just got to stick with it. You got to remember that nobody ever did anything big and it was easy for them. It's always hard. It's like the old phrase, if it was easy, everybody would do it. Well, that's exactly right. And there's a reason people are lined up outside of every border we have trying to get into the United States, because we offer the people here the right to pursue happiness. There's not lines of people trying to get into the other countries. They're trying to get here because we're free and we're allowed to go after our dreams. To me, it winds all the way back around to this manufactured housing conversation, because that is a great starting point. It was a great starting point for my family. And it's something that I think a lot of people don't think about when they find themselves in a spot and they don't have enough to make the big jump ultimately that they want. But this is a great step forward. And I think that's really, it's encapsulated with that. It is a great step forward, you know, and with a company like Go Fresh and myself, we're going to put that into motion and lead by example.
You know, it's such a wonderful thing living in this wonderful country of America, because as you mentioned, John, what America offers you is an opportunity. Now, what you do with that opportunity, of course, is up to you, but we all have that opportunity. We all have that right to pursue the dream and the pursuit that you're talking about. So guys, tell me, what's the long-term goal of Go Fresh? And John, and how will John become a part of this? So tell me a little bit about the long-term plans, the goals, and what we can expect from it.
Well, we obviously have some bogeys out there that we'd love to hit, but we also know that we need to grow in the right pace, because we want our tenants to have an amazing experience in each one of the parks that we partner with, essentially, in purchasing these rental homes from them. So our goal is to create an amazing management company to come alongside of our relationships where we buy those rental homes, and make sure that we're continuing to lift, if not even make greater, the reputation that those park owners have in one. And then also that the experience from our homeowners, that they can actually say and come out of it that their experience of living in a manufactured home in a mobile home community is unparalleled to what they even imagined. And second to that, you know, if we can help them access a way to own that home and to advance what their opportunity is for them and their family, you know, to raise the level of dignity they have in owning home versus renting, we're all about that. So we are interested in creating those programs to be able to help them access that opportunity. And then we believe long-term with John, there's a lot of different avenues that we could go. And we do believe there's some great awareness around opportunity zones, assuming that that provision, that law stays in place, depending on where everything goes with the election and beyond. And, as the industry faces a lot of challenges with zoning.
Right.
And zoning is a big impediment to growth for manufactured housing opportunities. So we would love to find a way to be able to open up some of those gateways and be a part of that from Go Fresh. And I think John has the ability, because of his relationships connected at such a high level, either in the government or otherwise, that that path is there. And so, it's baby steps. Look, we got to nail some things first. And so, if you're a park owner out there and you have some rental homes where you'd like to have some cash freed up, we'd love to hear from you, because that will help us grow and scale. And I believe there's going to be great opportunities. And John, maybe you have some ideas on what you're thinking around that too.
No, I think you nailed it. I do think that on the federal level, if they really want to fix the affordable housing crisis, there are some fairly simple maneuvers they can make that would open up a lot of zones out there for people to be able to get their hands on manufactured housing and upgrade their living situation. And that is something I intend on continuing to put pressure on. And like you said, we'll see how the election goes, but no matter who's the president, I can promise you, I will still be in the mix pressing on it, because housing is not a Republican or Democrat issue. I mean, you got to have a place to live, and there's all kinds of people of various backgrounds that income is income. I always hate it when I hear politicians refer to Americans as upper class, middle class, lower class. I hate that, because I know a lot of low class rich people. I know a lot of high class poor people. And it's got nothing to do with your class. It should be upper income, middle income, lower income. If you want to break people into that, I'm okay with that. Not class. Class is all about how you live, how you take care of what you've got, how hard you work, how big you dream, do you love your family, things like that. And I think that's the vast majority of Americans. And there's millions of them out there right now that need an option that they can afford to move their family into to upgrade their situation. And I believe manufactured housing sector is that.
Absolutely agree with you guys. I mean, manufactured housing is the alternative for affordable housing in today. In fact, it's the only alternative that I can think of. So this is an incredible project. There's so much going on. Chris, people are going to say, okay, I want to know more. How do I get in contact with these guys? What do I do? So Chris, how do we reach out to you to get more information on Go Fresh?
Sure. Well, I can easily be reached on my email at cm@gofreshhomes.com. So Chris Murray, cm@gofreshhomes.com at any time. And, the other thing I wanted to reiterate is that we just came through a very stressful, stress test for the industry. And it was proven that 8 out of 10 residents that live in a mobile home manufactured housing opportunity were considered essential workers. And the industry has been promoted as recession resistant. We certainly know it's non-correlated to the markets, and I think this was an amazing stress test to prove that it really is recession resistance, because we know that all of the rental income and the opportunities for these tenants to really live through this COVID situation, the rental income stayed highly strong and did not see a big dip, and that helps prove the industry a little bit. So yeah, CM at gofreshhomes.com, and shoot me an email. We'd love to hear from you. And if you want to get involved with Patriot Village as a manufacturer or either as a sponsor partner of the industry, please reach out and let us know.
I think it's fantastic, guys. I just want to take a moment and thank both of you for taking the time to discuss this really, really important project for Americans across our beautiful country, and to give them the opportunity to know more about your dream, John, your pursuit of helping people find the American dream of home ownership. So I want to thank you guys both. And for all our viewers and for all our listeners, I encourage you to reach out to Chris to learn more about this wonderful program. So John, I salute you. I thank you. Chris, I thank you. And you guys have a great afternoon. And for everybody out there, thank you for tuning in to this edition of the Manufactured Home Show. Goodbye.